watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
Alrighty. Oh, I'm not here. Where am I? I will be back in a second. Do not go away. Do not adjust your steps. Here I am. I knew I was here somewhere. I was hiding under the table. Well, that Kate, she scares me. I got her telling off for not getting her on pre-show for the warm-up. For the match on Saturday. That should scare me. Welcome along. This is LTID TV. It's not the prediction show at all. It's the Let's Talk Leicester. It's all going well today, isn't it? Welcome along. This is LTID TV 1 from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for joining us, either watching on YouTube or listening via your favourite podcast platform, whatever that is. If you're watching live, feel free to join in. It is the debate show, so do stick any questions you've got for the panel in the chat. If it's not on the topic we're discussing, then it will get ignored for a while. But believe me, I will be starring them, so they're not ignored. They are starred, and we go back and just fit in as many as we can at the end or as and when we move on to that topic. But we do try and keep it on topic at the time. You can also follow us on any of our multitude of social media sites, which are all across the bottom there, which I'm managing to do without Brad's finger, which is a bit of a relief, I've got to be honest with you. And you can support us or follow us on any of those, so please do that. As you can see there, I know you've only just got used to LTD TV 1 and LTD TV, the quiz channel, and we're going to change it all again. Yes, I don't change my underpants this often, I tell you, but it's like going into your favourite supermarket and trying to find the baked beans and finding them being moved to the other end whilst you were away. We have now got LTID TV 1, and Brad will now be looking after LTID TV 2. Yes, he's got a promotion. He's going to be a prefect. He's not perfect, but he's going to be a prefect. Now, he's looking after LTID TV 2 for us, which is going to be all women's football. We're going to do, maybe a couple of shows a week and see how Brad gets on and see what he wants to do. But he'll be covering the Leicester City women, and then he'll also be doing a weekly roundup show as well for the Women's Super League. So women's football, and we're going to come on to the ladies and the Sunday later, but that will be covered all on LTID TV 2. Got to keep him busy, He's costing me enough. I think it's him I'm paying anyway. But so you can, and it's a lot easier to find now. Just search LTID TV 2 and up he will pop, which is a bit frightening. We've all got to say, and any Australians will understand what that is, because that was Skippy that I recorded earlier saying, welcome along to the team, Luke. You may have seen him on Saturday's watch-along. He will be joining us now along with Brad before, during and after. It's a good job we got him, because Kate can't make it on Sunday. She didn't turn up on Saturday morning. She was not there for the pre-show chat. I don't know where she went. I think she was stuck in the pub. And then moaned that I never sent her the message. But, I just presumed that she'd have forgotten her earphones again. But it'll be a full house for the watch-alongs, which is going to be absolutely fan-dabby-dozy. So we're going to welcome Luke along as well to the team. Welcome along, Aussie Luke and Skippy, of course. Right, let's bring my one of my co-hosts in. The first one, the aforementioned Brad. Sir, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day. How the devil are you?
I'm doing well, Chris. I'm doing as well as Leicester's season so far. I'm off to a good. I'm having a good start to the week, and it's only Monday. I can't wait for Tuesday to probably ruin that for me. But for now, I'm good.
No, Big Cox is in. Richard, how are you doing? Welcome along, sir. Welcome. I don't know how West Ham are doing. I mean, I know you got turned down by Harry Maguire, but then ex-Leicester players don't want to go to every club, do they? John's in. Good evening, and Highfield's in as well. I think she's remembered to turn up. I say she forgot on Saturday pre-match to turn up. I think she's turned up now, and I don't think she's doing her hair either. So let's bring her in and say hello to Kate.
Hi. Yeah, you've
I haven't got any hair to do that with, otherwise I'd join you.
No, you haven't. You've remembered me this time as well.
I was surprised that I could forget you.
Well, me too, to be honest. But there we had it. Saturday, I was just left hanging, stood up at the bar. Not good, is it?
Oh dear.
No, it's not. I'm sorry. I'll slip an extra £5 in your pay this week.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, she gets paid? Okay, I see how it is.
Everybody gets paid, Brad, don't you?
No, funny enough, no. I'll see. My lawyers will see you in the morning, mate.
I'll have a word with my accountant.
Okay, I bet you're. Yeah.
Have we not
just realised that he's his own accountant.
Oh, well, I don't blame you for not paying him then. There we go. I've had a word with my accountant.
Oh, well, at least you tried, mate. At least you tried.
Well, I am trying, apparently. Stuart, hi, Brad and Chris. I think that was before you were in, Kate, but John says hello,
Hi.
Kate.
Hi, John.
Well. So it's all been happening, and we've got a few things to get through. I do just want to bring this up before we go any further. And Dave, who is unable to make it this evening again because he is quite ill. We wish him all the best. Like I say, I personally think an excuse to get out of this walk, but he says he's still going to do it. And him and his wife Cassie are going to be doing Jeff Stelling's Walk for Football. It's the marathon walk, isn't it? 26.2 miles from Wembley to Wickham, and it's on the 17th of September. Jeff Stelling is doing that for prostate cancer. I've just donated. Of course, you don't have to, but if you do want to support him, there is a link that I have put on. It's my own personal Facebook, but I've also put it on the group Facebook and the Twitter. It was too long to put in the thing. It wouldn't fit in the space with a decent size. So do go over to either Twitter or Facebook group, and you can click on the link there to adjust giving page, and please support him. Don't it's a lot easier just to donate than it is to do the bloody walk. I don't know why he's not doing it that way. But Brad, we did talk about you earlier. It's all about Brad, Kate. You'll learn this. It's all about Brad, this channel. But this is why I'm giving him in his own channel, you see. The Women's Super
It's just
League.
to keep me off this channel, that's why.
Yes, he's worked it out. Women's Super League, Brad, you're going to be covering it for us when it starts. I think, is it the end of September it starts?
Yeah, end of September. It's always a few weeks after the men's season starts. Just not just because of a certain World Cup that's taken place, but because obviously there's it's a smaller league in terms of numbers, but the quality is still just as good. Yes, Leicester City women will be looking to make it 3 seasons back to back of staying in the WSL, and I have taken the duty duties of trying to bring you as much action as I can, from watch-alongs to post-matches to anybody who does follow the women's football and wants to be on board. Just contact me on Twitter and we can do all sorts of shows as we look to the build up to Leicester City's 3rd season in the WSL.
I know. I mean, Kate, the women are better than the men. Was it ever in doubt?
Never. No, I can't believe you had to ask that question.
Yes, I
Just
know.
been
What have I
suppressed.
been
It's been
doing?
suppressed for so long.
Yeah. But then, look, we are going to come on to this, but I will just quickly just say, and I didn't put this up, but there was a lovely picture that the radio station that I work for, we've got a female DJ who's very much got my sense of humour, and she superimposed a picture of, I think it was Millie Bright in a kitchen full of dirty pans, and it just says, I've been away for 2 weeks and I come back to this. I have to say, that was a woman. Scott says about you being a messiah. That works better when Brad allows his hair to grow. That's had it.
It does.
Had
It
that
does.
long. I've
So,
actually got to find one for you, Kate. I'm sure I will. But yeah, as well as that, you're going to be covering, like you said, the women's team as well. I don't know how up to date that picture was. I was rushing today. And as we said before, welcome along to Luke and Skippy, our newest presenters on a Saturday. I'm going to send you the link this Saturday, even though you said you're not going to be here, Kate. I've got it in my mind now. Remember to send the link. Remember to send the link.
you just get a green screen of the King Power behind you, Kate, and just fool them into thinking you go in. And then when he sends you one for the aftermatch, go, I wasn't there, Chris. I don't know.
She's not nasty like you. Look, talking of the women, and you mentioned this before we came live, Kate. I mean, it probably, I've got to be honest with you, was, and I'm not going to criticise because it's very easy to criticise football. And I do think we sometimes, and we were talking Ivan Toney as well, didn't we, before we came live, but Stan Collymore mentioned this, didn't he, Brad, when he was on the show earlier, and we were talking about mental health, something a lot of us have sort of gone through, and it's kind of hit home on me this weekend because I thought I was very much on the up, and then occasionally it's the old lemming at the cliff moment, and you drop off big style as well. So I don't want to sort of kick anybody while they're down, but it probably wasn't their best performance, was it, Kate?
No, I don't think it was their best performance. And a lot of the journalists were speaking to the manager before the game. And I think one of the questions that wasn't asked, which I would have liked to have asked, was she said earlier in the week after the semi that felt like the final. And they celebrated like the final. And it felt really, really big in that moment. So it was an effort to get the girls re-motivated again, to do it all over again, but even bigger game yesterday. And I'm not sure they achieved it. They certainly didn't play like themselves. It was all a bit, there was no options. It was a bit dull, wasn't it? They just didn't look like themselves at all, didn't create a lot. And couldn't really string a pass together at some points. Like, it was quite disorganised, quite, just lacking creativity. It was really sad to see. And you just wonder whether it was just a game too much.
Well, Brad, yeah, I mean, you watched it. I did the watch along for it. You came on the channel, and are the women's England team? Have we fallen because of our own success? Because we've come to expect so much, and I didn't see one performance, possibly the China one, but there wasn't one performance there that got me excited like they did in the Euros. I mean, we just scraped past Haiti. I mean, that's like scraping past San Marino for the men, isn't it? We expected to do more. And had we come to expect sort of too much from them?
Sorry, was that to me?
It was.
Sorry,
the clue in there was when I said Brad at the start of the question.
Yeah, sorry. I my brain heard you, and then you went on a tangent, and my brain forgot who you asked. So then I just
Hang on 1 second.
Let me plug myself in and charge myself up again, so I'm at full battery. I want to see what he's doing now.
You carry on. I'm just.
I think the one thing that was always hanging over England was the success of the Euros and this impressive 40+ game undefeated streak. I mean, only Australia in a friendly had had beaten us, and again that was a friendly, so people didn't really look too much into it. It wasn't like they'd had suffered a shock in right, Brad, Kate, right, okay, I've learned. The more you know. No, but I think people maybe glazed over it because it was a friendly, but that would have had the struggles on it, because all of a sudden, I said to you on the watch along itself, didn't I, that England went from happy to very rigid in their 11, very, very consistent style of play, to being very passive aggressive, and all of a sudden feeling the need to play 15, 16, 17, 18 players when that wasn't the formula that won them the Euros. And I know people will say, well, the obvious thing is Euros has less than in the World Cup, and you can get different opposition, but England were also very rigid in that sense, because they didn't change it, and I think that was key for Spain's victory, because one thing I did notice throughout the game that never ever changed was, no matter who the key players were for England, whether it was Elliott, whether it was Russo, whether it was Kelly when she came on, whether it was James when she came on, the Spanish knew who they were, and the Spanish knew to go, right, you and you, and it was always three. It was always three. Go and mark her out the game, because that's where they're going to try and come at us from. You go. When the ball's on the right side, we'll go and mark Kelly out the game. When the ball's on the left side, we'll go and mark James out the game. When Lucy Bronze, who for me had a horror of a game, unfortunately, when she's trying to drive forward from defence to midfield, hound her for the ball because she gives it away, and it led to the goal. It led to a few chances, and I think that's one thing that Spain were able to practice as well as preach, because other teams have tried against England that hadn't been successful, and Spain showed that with the right quality, when this England side comes up against it, they might now start getting unstuck.
Now, Kate.
That relies on us both being able to read, right?
Damn! I know I can rely on one of you. I don't know which one. I haven't done joined up writing, so it should be easier for you. To my mind, you can survive when one or two players don't perform. You get that every day, and none of those players went out thinking, I'm going to have a bad game today. It's hard, and I think most of the team didn't perform. To my mind, the goalkeeper Mary Earps was woman player of the match, and Chloe Kelly for me was a close second when she came on. But are we not giving the Spanish maybe the credit they deserve? They are currently the only team ever in the women's game to hold I think it's the under-17, under-20 and full World Cups at the same time. So they had a good game.
Yeah, they had an excellent game. I don't think there was many people that put a foot wrong. I thought they were very organised, very clinical, and they just took their chance. It was a great finish. And they were just all over us. They were, like Brad said, there was a few players around each player all the time. Each person knew their role, and we just looked the exact opposite of that yesterday. We just looked out of ideas. Maybe there was some mental fatigue there. And they rose to the occasion and we didn't, and it's just one of them.
And actually, if I put that, will that stay? That will stay there. That's good. And Kate, staying with you, they had an extra day. Did that make the difference?
It could have done. But these girls are fit. Obviously, Lauren James had some rest. I was surprised she didn't start. I thought when she came on, she did really well, and she actually created some chances, and she was just class yesterday. I thought she stood out by a mile in terms of ability and just being on it. She was sharp, whereas the rest of them weren't. So it may have made a difference with another day's rest, but I think sometimes the occasion just gets the better of you, and it's just one of those that happen with us. We didn't play like we normally do, and that can just happen. You've got 90 minutes and it just doesn't happen.
Brad,
I keep changing his name. I don't think he realises he's got his name on backwards.
Not to me, I haven't.
No,
I'm doing. I'm saying, and most people when they have a banner, Chris, right? It's their own name. I know what you're doing. I'm just undermining the fact that you seem to have a. So it's because you've got your name.
Let's stick with Kate, shall we? Okay.
Oh,
So, Brad. Look, I know God knows what he was on about. Brad, I mean, where does this England team go now? Serena stays, I'm guessing. I don't know if she wants to move on. I know America was sniffing around. It's still a youngish team. I think bronze possibly her last tournament. Um, where do we go from here?
the thing is, with what they've achieved over the past two tournaments, there's not really anywhere they can go except for breaking that glass ceiling. And what I mean by that is we've seen it in the men's and women's football. You'll get a side that do really well, but they either consistently do really well and consistently get to semi-finals and finals of cup competitions. But the difference between becoming a great team and a world-class team, and this is a chance for this England side to become a world-class golden era, if you will, is they've kind of got to do what the and I remember the Spain. Funny enough, sadly, sorry to bring it up, but the Spanish men's side did it in the
I was gonna say, I
2010
remember
sort of area.
the Spanish Armada then.
Yeah, the Spanish Armada. I remember that. Yeah, no, but the Spanish men's team. I think it was in around the late 2008, 2010 sort of period where they got to like three finals and won two of them or something like that. You know, I think they went back to back World Cup Europe and European finalists and won two out of three of them, if not all three of them. And this is the part where England can, all they really can go out now and achieve, like you said, with how young the majority of that squad is and how many years they're expecting to get internationally, at least out of these squads, how many tournaments supposed to get out of them. This is their chance to kind of tie it in a wonderful knot and put a lovely cherry on top of it by next, going far and potentially retaining the Euros, by potentially going one step further and winning that first ever World Cup. This is their time to really put all the fancy decorations on what has the potential to be a golden era, because the only bad thing that could happen to this England side right now is they suddenly just lose that fight. They suddenly lose that grit and determination. They start going out in the knockouts. They don't make it out of the groups, and you don't want to taint a history. You want to compare them to Leicester under Brendan Rodgers. You don't want that side of the thing to happen now, where they start going downhill. They burn out, that energy, their desire kind of fades. So you want this England side to really put the gloss on a golden era for the English women football by potentially winning these tournaments more.
Just remember, though, Terry, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition either. Kate, I mean, that very much, though, had, and we'll move on after this, but that very much, to me, had memories of Russia World Cup for the men. Was that our best chance? There was no America. They got knocked out. Germany went out at the group stage. Sweden fell as well. Have we missed our chance?
History would tell you yes, we have, because we've not won a World Cup for X amount of years for a reason. I do think it falls down to mentality on the day. So that was the best chance that we've had in a long while. But who knows? Who knows in the future? There's obviously some really good young talent there. I think a lot of money's being put into the women's game. I think they said yesterday, didn't they? 200 million Australia have pledged to the game. I don't think England will be far behind that in the years to come. It's just a case of mentality, isn't it? The Spanish, Portuguese, Brazilians, Americas, they just seem to have the different mentality when it comes to the major occasions. I don't know what it is. We'd love to know what it is, but England always seem left wanting at the end of these things.
But I'll stick with you, Kate. Are we expecting too much? I mean, everybody's saying, with the men, when we got to the Euros, well, we should have won it. It was Southgate's fault, blah, blah. It's funny, we're not hearing all that for this one. And all the papers were actually very supportive of the team and saying how proud we were, all of them. Should we, to get to the final of a World Cup, all right, we lost it. it's football. You lose, we see it with FA Cup games, sometimes it just doesn't click on the day. And if that happens to be the day, it's like taking your driving test. You can absolutely storm your lessons. If you suddenly got a bit of a headache because it's on the day of the test, it absolutely goes out the window. Should we not? Should we? Well, I think quite rightly we should be proud of what we've achieved. And yes, it was disappointing, but no more than disappointing.
Yeah, absolutely. We should be so proud of them. They did really well. The semi-final was the hardest one, wasn't it? I didn't think we'd win that. So they surpassed all expectations with that, especially with Australia being at home. So that was the big test, and we passed that. So you can't really say for the future. You'd like to think that we'll build and build and build, because we have seemingly improved year on year. But we'll just have to see. I think we'll just have to see.
Indeed. But let's not forget.
No one expects a Spanish Inquisition.
There we go. Nobody does. Now, I don't know whether I should come to Brad with this one. I don't know whether he's done his homework, but we've been linked with a striker, Brad. No, we haven't. We've been linked with a winger.
Shows how much you've done your own work.
I'm multitasking at this end. You only got to sit there and answer the questions. Apparently, we have reached agreement over our 7th summer transfer, although it's 8th because we've got to remember the Villa guy. We seem to be forgetting him, with a €10 million clause. That the deal for the winger is close as Enzo continues to rebuild his squad. Galatasaray winger. Surely we can't get 2 wingers in that are going to play well in one season, Brad.
Well, I mean, history would tell you no. We always struggle when we're trying to build on a certain side of the pitch. But the way things have been going in this transfer window under Enzo, why not, Chris? Why can't we just why can't we have a perfect transfer window? It's a very strange window, isn't it? I mean, another good thing about it as well is, and I think it was Scott that said it earlier, is that if this does go through, which it sounds like it's now here to be happening, I'm surprised we haven't heard some urgency about someone leaving. I will say that quickly. I'm not sure if you've got that to go on to the topic with what Enzo maybe said about certain needs for players to go out before we can bring in. That might be something that comes to light over the next few days. But the one good thing about it is, and it's something we kind of feared might happen and we couldn't get too dependable on, is a permanent signing, Chris, isn't it? From what I believe, this is going to, this will be our player. We own him. We've brought him, sort of thing. It's not a loan deal. And if you're saying 80% of our transfer work this season is permanent buys, then that's only an extra added positive.
It says here it will see the winger join on loan, but with a mandatory purchase clause of 10 million.
Oh, so yeah, I think that will be like subject to games played that makes it mandatory. But you'd like to think if it's a success, then we are going to at least. But again, we have that first option that if he has a blinding season, 10 million rubbing around, thanks very much, sort of thing. So it's not the worst deal in the world either way.
Ryan has popped in. It's a Barnsley fan. Good evening, Ryan. You are more than welcome to join us. Hope you are well. How's your season going? I have to be totally honest with you. I'm not even going to pretend to know because I don't. So let us know how your season's going.
If I remember rightly, they started up with a 7-0 win against Port Vale, didn't they? Ryan, you might confirm that for me. At a blinding start.
Ryan will tell us, I'm sure. But also to Ryan, RIP for one of the great sons of Barnsley, and that's Michael Parkinson, who passed away last week. So thoughts are with Barnsley and obviously Michael Parkinson's fans. Kate, I mean, it's £8.5 million, €10 million, and it says here that Agun himself has agreed a 5-year deal with the club. Is that what we needed? Because we've always seemed to know we've had either bought untried players in the likes of Diabate, or we've got loan players in we're like under. Do you need a decent permanent signing for it to work?
Yes, I think so, because we've got to be focusing on not only this season but next season and some longevity. And you've got to future-proof your squad a bit, haven't you? So you can plan for the future, really, in terms of forecasting for wages. What do we do if we go up? What do we do if we don't go up? And I think it's important to get the permanent signings in. And if he turns out to be a wonder kid, then we could get some big money for him again, like we've done with some of our previous signings, which have gone really well.
Yeah. I mean, they say no smoke without fire, Kate, but the report comes less than 24 hours after another Turkish journalist, Salim Manav, said that the transfer will take place this week unless there is the final change. So nothing's been said by Fabrizio, nothing's been said in the Athletic, nothing's been said Telegraph, just this in the Mercury. But when there's a couple of sources telling the same thing, you've got to be thinking there's no smoke without fire, is there?
Yeah, we've not had the usual people like Henry Wynn to talk about it, and some of the other guys that you said as well. But when those sort of secondary sources start talking about it, and especially when the framework of the deal starts to come to the fore a bit, which I think it is, then you'd like to think this is gathering pace and there's some truth to it, really.
You do. Brad, Ryan was saying you were right. You had to be at some point in your life, didn't you? Tonight's the night. You've got Kate here to witness it. But John says here, Brad, John says, I thought we had to ship out before we could get any more in. You made the point, and I've not read the Pratt story yet. I'm just going to read that while you're answering. But I did a lot of artwork today for Men of the Match and things like that. And we've got 30 players on the Leicester City site at the moment. We've got to get that down to 25. If we want to bring in, it's obvious we're going to have to ship out. But was that the problem that we had last season, this trying to ship players out before we can bring in? Do we not have to say, well, all right, they're not going to be part of our plans, but, we can still try and do something with them, because different windows close at different times over Europe, don't they? Have we got to sort of bite the bullet? Otherwise, we'll be in the same situation as last season.
Yeah, that's probably something to do with it. And look, I've said since day one that Enzo will want to get his business done as quick as possible. You don't want to be bringing somebody in 2 days or a day or on the day of the transfer deadline closing, who especially in an area that you need to get some quality and depth in. So to get it in now with just under 2 weeks to go, it isn't the end of the world, because he's managed to get 6 or 7 players in already. So it's not like we're suddenly only just making waves in the transfer market, but it's an area of concern. I think that may be why the whole loan to mandatory thing, we probably said, look, we thought we was going to get rid of 1 or 2 players. We're struggling a little bit, but either, maybe we're talking about a player who next year can go for free and it won't matter so much. So we can definitely pay the fee we've agreed. And they've gone, okay, then we'll make it mandatory, but we'll agree to make it a loan. So you can make sure your finances aren't broken this season. We still have to do FFP. I know we lost a lot of players. So there's a lot of things in conjunction with why this deal might be a little bit, it's almost like, take the loan now, pay next year sort of thing, if you will. So maybe there's that behind it. And it's smart, work around it. If Chelsea can go and spend 4 billion and lose for 3-1 to West Ham, just thought I'd point that out. They lost West Ham 3-1 after spending 4 billion. Was it 4-1 in the end? I saw it at 3-1. I saw it. I didn't know it got worse than that, mate. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh dear.
I did have a titter that Tielemans was only a substitute again.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Oh dear, that was funny. But yeah, that could be why the deal was a little bit concussed. And I know we probably have a luxury to be a bit more free to do that, so it's probably not 100% necessary. But like you said, it's a big squad we've got now. I know it's 25 is the max we can register, but we have also got to our advantage, like I said to you before, that Nielsen, homegrown players under 21s don't actually need to be registered, so they'll still be available throughout the season. But it seems like that's played its part in the reason why it's probably kind of reignited again, why it kind of cooled down a bit for a while.
Okay,
originally.
Question to you. have we got to bite the bullet and say, look, we're going to have to get these players in and maybe try and ship these out, like you say, let the contracts run down, whatever. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck with these players again.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's got to be some forcing of the hand behind the scenes, hasn't there? Really, like people like Castagna, that type of player is we just need to get rid of. He's not going to play, and Daka is another one as well. Like he's not really featured at all. He's not been in any of the squads. So we do just need to force it really. But I don't know how you can do that. I don't know how you can do that unless the player finds a club they want to move to for the right figure, for arguably a pay rise, which they'll probably only move for. Then it's very difficult, isn't it?
It is. We saw that with Vestergaard, didn't we? Your favourite player. Talking of favourite players, just a sidetrack. I did have a comment earlier, a message from Dave about Peter Taylor. We'll come on to that in a second. But I did say to him, we would sooner have Prime Marty or Prime Junior Lewis. And he did say it was a bit like the choosing between the Black Death and AIDS or something like that. So, but yeah, I mean, but then again, Kate, I mean, okay, let's say these players don't go. And Pratt, apparently, it was an injury. Maybe they need to learn to come out and explain to us what's going on, because, again, otherwise we're going to end up with a load of rumours and what have you. But if the likes of, say, a Castagna does stay, is it the end of the world? Because he was a good player.
It all depends, doesn't it? Because if he's not playing because of his own desire to leave and he's being a bit of an idiot about it, then you don't want to go past the point of no return. Okay, well, we won't play you, so you remain injury free. See if you get your move. Then if not, we might include you. It's a bit of a gamble. It depends what kind of temperament he is and what kind of relationship he's got with Enzo. Because if he's not got off on the right foot with Enzo, because ultimately he wants to leave, then he'll just be on the training ground for the next 8 months, won't he? Really?
Yeah. I think Ryan's enjoyed writing that last comment as well. A bit of Yorkshire rivalry. Brad, is Castagna looking at it and going, well, it worked for Tielemans? And I said this, if you remember, a while ago, that are some of the players looking at what Tielemans did and thinking, yeah, I could do that.
What, warm Villa's bench?
Well, no.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. I'll give you that one. That was good. No, what I'm saying is, like, hang on and hang on. I did like that one. That was very good. But yeah, I'm just worried that players have looked at what Tielemans did, Brad, and would probably think, yeah, it might work for us.
I'd be very, very, very disappointed if that was the case, because, you know, the one thing that Tielemans had working for him in that situation is Brendan Rodgers was so far up his arse he could have worn him as a Halloween costume. So he was never in danger of not playing, let's face it. Whereas Enzo, you know, Castagna and these won't have that luxury of Enzo. I mean, you kind of want to counter it. I've seen him on the bench. The camera's panned to him. He looks happy. He doesn't look like he's causing a fuss. So I think maybe whilst his intention is he wants to go and play at a high quality league, which is his right to want, you know, he's not sitting there causing a stink. He's laughing and joking with his teammates. So I don't think you're having a distasteful situation at the club, i.e. Castagna causing aggro on the training ground. You know, we've not seen him being slung to the under-23s or whatever.
Brad, is that we're looking at, he's not been offered a contract yet, I don't think, has he? Yeah,
but why would you offer somebody who's just...
No, what I'm saying is that Tielemans was offered one and refused to sign it.
Yeah. And again, you know, only if you feel you've got that position of power, like Tielemans did, where the club were desperately trying to get him to sign and offering him everything they could afford to throw at him, then of course, if that's the case, you get the feeling that the player's going to go, well, I'm going to take this club for a ride and get all I can out of it. Like I said, nobody has that luxury of Enzo because he's very fresh to the club and he doesn't seem to particularly have favourites, or at least it doesn't seem that way just yet. So But what benefit any player would get trying to take this club for a ride right now, I have no idea. And how they'd manufacture it, I don't know. I think it's just simply a case of wait till the transfer window closes, because how many, you don't want to burn your bridges. If you chuck him in under 23 just because he says he wants to pretend, he potentially wants to play at a higher level, and you chuck him in the under 23s and 18s and tell him to F off and he's never going to darken his doorstep again, and then all of a sudden Juventus change their mind, or he changes his mind because they're not in Europe, and this move never materialises and he doesn't leave the club, then what happens? It becomes real awkward meeting in the morning, doesn't it? Because you want to keep a player on board who kind of maybe goes, without saying the exact words, will basically go up to manager and go, I've realised that I'm not as wanted or maybe as good as I thought I was. Maybe the Championship isn't above my pay grade. Can I have another chance to prove my worth and make my way into your team? And if he does have that response and attitude back, I would not be opposed to Castagne playing this year. And again, if he doesn't go in a window, Chris, it's an area already we've got cover on. So it's just good depth to have in the squad.
I mean, Kate, is it not good that players want to play for better teams? Does it not show ambition? If there was all right, this is Leicester, and I'll stop at Leicester wherever I am. It's like, in your, I don't know what you do for a job, but surely you've got ambition to improve and move on and get higher up, whether that's with the same company or even, with a different company. Surely that's a good thing.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I'd never mind a player for wanting to go to what they interpret to be a better offer. The same with anybody who moves jobs. But what I do have qualms with is players who can't get the move that they want, or do have a potential move, probably a sideways move, but for less money, so won't take it. Now, I can't, and then don't want to play for us either. So they just basically sit there and take their money, like what's his face did for Sunderland before. It's a tough one, isn't it? It depends on the player's temperament and attitude around it, I think, which makes or breaks it, really.
Yes, yeah. You did. I'm going to ask you this again, and you know who I'm going to ask you about, because you actually admitted he was all right on Saturday.
I thought you'd re-quote this back to me.
Yes, you know that. You're lucky I've forgotten to clip it.
But not used to forget stuff, is it, Chris? Let's be honest.
No, it's not. No. I mean, I'm just trying to get my head around Sutar, why he hasn't sort of fitted in. Obviously, there's something that Enzo doesn't like about him. And Vestergaard. I mean, could you see Kate Vestergaard being offered another contract?
Yeah, I'd never say never. If he plays to Enzo's liking, he did all right on Saturday. If he has games like that every week, get some consistency. And also, I think we can be harsh on people. He's had no way or route to build his confidence up, has he, at all, in this Leicester team at the minute for the last couple of years. He's had no route towards that. So if he plays like he did on Saturday, didn't cause any havoc, didn't make any errors, would like him to see him use his head a bit better, then everybody deserves a chance. If you're good enough, you're good enough. But we just know what his weaknesses are. But maybe Enzo will work with him and make him more aware and play around it. I don't know. But the Sutar thing is weird. He doesn't even put any sort of training pictures on his Instagram or anything anymore either. Like they used to put the Getty images, training and stuff like that. He doesn't do that either. It's always either Scottish national photos or just photos, with friends or people's birthdays and stuff. He doesn't even interact with Leicester City anymore on his socials either, which is really interesting. So I think he's all but out.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, but then I suppose backing that up, Brad, was it Soyuncu always used to put gym pictures up?
Yeah, but I mean, we all know that unfortunately, and it is unfortunate because it's one of them. It's not a case of one that got away. It's more a case of we were robbed as fans of a potential couple of seasons of decent centre back options, i.e., having Soyuncu over Amati, who's Dave's favourite player in the world. So. That was a different story. This one, I'm sorry, I stand by what I say. This just feels like it's on the player. I feel like he had an argy-bargy when things were going wrong at the club. You know, I've said it now. 3 managers haven't really spoken anything about him highly or anything. You know, Brendan, who brought him here, he seemed to drop out of favour with him very quickly. He's sulking on social media with, you know, not relating to the club at all, and that's not doing him any favours with us fans to have any sympathy with him. What was it Dean Smith said after he actually played him in the game? Oh, he won't play next week because he's too tired. I know, Kate, I think it's you that's brought up the fact that he came with us for an ACL, and I get that to a point, but pull the other one, mate, you're tired. I would go out there and collapse on the floor dying and come back next week and play if it meant playing football for 10 grand a week, let alone what he's probably on a week. You talk about players eating up the wage bill, get rid of him. Because Enzo doesn't seem to care for him, doesn't seem to like him. You know, we talked about, Chris, the famous 6, if you will, that wanted out the door and then had one training session or one epic speech from Enzo and suddenly changed their minds and wanted to leave the club. And he fills me with Kevin and Perry syndrome. He just feels like no matter what he's told, no matter how many times someone tries to put an arm around him, it's not fair. I don't want to play here. Fuck off then. Get out of the club. I'm not asked if he goes. And if he wants to go and join the bell end at Celtic, who, by the way, got knocked out of the cup, just saying, +2 to Kilmarnock. Welcome back to Celtic, Brendan.
Then by all means. Club. You've got to remember that.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot their reserves are bigger than Leicester. So, yeah, sorry, a massive club. Got knocked out by Kilmarnock.
I didn't say anything.
I thought you were gonna. Sorry, you were just clearing your throat. You see, I've always been told that if a woman's clearing her throat, then usually she wants to say something.
I'm not about to say something of weight, don't worry.
No. First of all, I'm going to actually, at this point, and this may shock you now, because I'm going to make a very, very public apology to Brad, because I know.
47 minutes.
Clip it, everybody. If Kelechi Iheanacho ends up leaving the club, I think I may have jinxed it. So I was doing all sort of man of the match slides ready for after each game, and I forgot to do Kelechi Iheanacho. So that's kind of... I'm sorry, Brad. I'm sorry. I like to own up to my mistakes. My bad. I'm sorry. But...
We'll talk about this afterwards, Christopher. You know you're in trouble. I'll use your full name.
That's a couple of points I'll lose in the prediction league.
Couple. You get an FFP docked, mate, over here. You're on -20.
Just to sidetrack onto, I might put me in. I've still not been in plus yet. This does, Kate. I'm just going to bring this up because it did tickle me when Dave sent me this morning during the show. It did nearly put me off me breakfast. Former England manager Peter Taylor sacked by 8th tier club despite unbeaten start to season. Ex-England manager Peter Taylor has been sacked as manager of an 8th tier club from Essex. The 70-year-old, good God, he's there with, what's he called, at Palace, isn't he? The 70-year-old was appointed manager of Isthmian League North Division club Malden and Tiptree back in December 2022. I mean, surely, Kate, at what point do you think, give it up?
God, 15, 20 years ago is the point. Gosh, I wonder what's gone on there then. If he's had a successful start, he's just not a great guy, is he? He's not a great guy.
Maybe Junior Lewis finally arrived and that's what put them off.
He's not got any morals. Oh no. They should have just looked at his CV, what they're doing appointing him in the first place.
Well, I think you would have thought in the 8th tier.
As a 70-year-old as well. Like, there's younger men out there that would be hungry for that role. And
he didn't have Junior Lewis with him. And he apparently, as he is unbeaten, and they just want to take the club in a different direction. I don't know.
To being beaten? Is that what they want? They want to stop losing games. Rather lose games everywhere, mate. Go and take us a different direction. See you later.
But, Kate, let's stick with you. I mean, we're record breakers. Piece of piss, this championship, isn't it?
I No, it's really not. I've not seen any comfortable performance yet, but momentum is key and always has been for Leicester. So we've got some real momentum now, and sometimes you've got to win ugly. And on Saturday, I feel like that happened really, because there were moments where we didn't play great. There were moments where we played really great. It was pretty desperate times at the end. I thought we can't draw 1-1 to these guys just because we had the better of the play. The first half in particular, that was Cardiff's one and only shot at goal, I think. It was the only time Mads had to do anything. And what a worldie it was. But it was great for the young guy to get his debut. I think I heard Pipes say on the radio afterwards, I hope that he's not jinxed it like Tete did, and he's going to fall off the face of the planet now until he goes. But what a start. He came on and made himself busy. He looks a big guy. He's got plenty of presence on the park. So I'm chuffed for Enzo, because I don't think he'll be bothered by breaking a record, but it just keeps you out the spotlight and keeps people off your back, which I think is going to be key for him to just keep heads down and focus and build without any noise from the outside.
Brad, I mean, it's just nice. I mean, we were getting the records last season, but all for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, we were. It was a horrible time. I've always said, though, Leicester go hand in hand with breaking records. And the last time we were in the Championship, we broke records, some extraordinary ones, some very random ones. I think we had the oldest goal scorer when Kevin Phillips scored against Bournemouth in that game. So we had some fantastic ones. And I want to touch on something that was said on the interview.
Not live on air, mate.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I'll do that after 9 o'clock when it's the watershed. No, but something that apparently Enzo said in this interview on the LCFC website, because they do all the interviews and that, and obviously it's on BBC. But apparently he said that Leicester, that his current group of players are only 20% up to the standard of play that they're not, they're 20% of the way to understanding and being able to produce the style of football that he's getting them to work on. And if that's if 2-1s and 1-0s are 20%, I can't wait. I'd hate to be the opposition to get the 100%, because if that's how we're going to eke out results in this division as well, you ask any long-term fan of this division, someone like a Birmingham fan who's been here for 50 years, it feels like for them, they'll tell you that eking out results is probably the scruffiest way to get out of this division at times, isn't it? Because it's that competitive.
When you think about it, though, I reckon of all the games we've played, 20% of each match has been great. So that's probably where we're from. In a way as well, like 20% has been great. We've had probably 20% where flipping out, we could have lost that. It could have gone the other way. Like they missed a 1-on-1 on Saturday. Coventry missed 2 sitters. So I think I understand what you're saying a bit there, to be honest. But the motivation and ability, I think, is there. It's just getting everybody to do it together.
But okay, I mean, you said there, yes, if we've been playing Liverpool's, Man City's, Arsenal's, Newcastle's, we wouldn't be winning those games because they would be taking those chances. But we are not playing those teams. We are playing Championship teams because that's where we are at the moment. Then hopefully by the time we play those teams next season, we'll have sorted those sort of problems out.
Whose name? I'm sorry.
It's your turn, Kate. Hey, I'm not the only one.
If we are playing the Liverpools, if we are playing the Arsenals, we lost to them when we won the league. We don't get promoted to think we're going to beat Liverpools and Arsenals. You go to beat the other 14.
No, but what I was saying was those chances that the opposition are all getting. Everybody saying, "Oh yeah, look, if they'd had the scoring boots on, blah blah blah." As Gino De Campo once said, if his mother had had wheels, she'd have been a bike. But hopefully next season, when we are playing those teams, we won't be making or giving those sort of gaps at the back. And at the moment, we are playing that standard of team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I completely get your point. The pace is different. The way they engineer and create chances is different in the Championship, so it's not as slick. But you can only play what you play against. I'm hoping that, fingers crossed, we get promoted next year and we'll be ready for it and have confidence. The biggest problem last year for us was confidence, because imagine Man City, if they didn't have confidence, they wouldn't play anything like they do now.
No.
It just wouldn't. It's all about confidence and belief. And I think Brendan just robbed us of that. And Enzo, I think, has brought it back. He's got so much vigor about him and energy and, jumping up and down the touchline. It's what you want to see. And
Yes.
hopefully that becomes infectious. And yeah, we've got some work to do. What is it? 43 games left, but we've got to start somewhere, and it's looking really encouraging. And the transfer business has been positive, and take it each day at a time.
I mean, we've not had that sort of energy on the sideline probably since Martin O'Neill. But in fairness to Claudio, even all right. I mean, Nigel showed something on the side of the pitch, Brad, but that was usually strangling opposition players or swearing at fans. But even Claudio got a little bit excited at times. But it is great to see that enthusiasm. I mean, all right, look, we've played 3 games, but that's the table. I mean, it's looking good, and obviously, like I say, it's a long journey to go. But
we've got Leeds this weekend as well, I think.
No, Rotherham.
Oh, is it
Rotherham?
Yeah, because you could have gone because Gorinda's not going.
Ipswich have got Leeds this weekend.
Ah, right. Well,
Yes, they do.
Leeds haven't started very well. Will Ipswich carry on? They'll either be that surprise team that's come up and does well, or they will fade out once the teams have got used to them. But I mean, Brad, it still looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it still looks good, and you consider all the question marks and doubts and the rover Leicester from our own fans, and that comes from the mental scarring of last season. Obviously, we all knew that mental scarring was going to have us. I mean, I talked about the hoodoo of the first win, and now we're thinking of waiting for that first defeat. Now we can never be positive for too long, can we? It seems with the mental scarring of the last 18 months under Brendan, but. It's exactly. You could not have asked. Well, I know you. Well, you could have asked for a more perfect start. We could have won 4-0 every game and been top and loving life. But in terms of having them questions hanging over us, you could not have asked for a more perfect start. Because if this is what Leicester are capable of doing, and I've been saying for weeks now, Chris, good teams can win when the going's good, but great teams always find a way to win. And I think against, like Kate said, apart from maybe a 20% spell where we were really good against these 3 teams, we haven't really played to a dazzling standard to completely go for it. But we found a way to win, whether it's in the 70th minute, whether it was in the 85th or the 92nd minute, like it was against Cardiff. We found a way to win. And if you're telling me that we get up to that 80% mark of completely dominating and dazzling the fans for the majority of matches going forward by game week 15 or 16, if we've got a 6 or 7 point gap over third place by that point, it's only going to prove just how vital these nitty gritty 1-0ers, 2-1ers are going to prove to be, because we'll be in a position of power then for when it doesn't always go our way.
Yes. Kate, I asked you earlier to give a team performance. I'm moving forward, hopefully when you go to the games, because I know you're letting us down this weekend and not going because you're celebrating some birthday party that happened about 3 years ago.
6 months ago, yeah. You can't rely on these stuff, Chris.
Really pisshead she is, I'll tell you. But you gave this score for the team performance. You gave them 7 out of 10. Do you want to go through? I mean, I think that's probably fair because it was 2-1. We were lucky. We left it very, very late. But I mean, I could go explain it. I mean, but I wouldn't argue with you.
Yeah, I think first half we absolutely dominated. So we didn't do a hell of a lot wrong in the first half. Obviously, Kelechi went really close. Madi Vadua down the wing was so busy, so good. Looked totally up for it, and it was no surprise when he got his goal. Really, he deserved that. So the first half, I think there wasn't a lot to be said for our performance. Really, it was a worldie that equalised that out of absolutely nowhere, and that's football. I think Enzo.
Do you not think Danny Ward would have got that?
No chance. No chance. No go Gadget wouldn't have got that. And Enzo even said, "You just got to take it. You just got to take it. That's football at the end of the day. You're going to get those random goals out of nowhere." Then second half, and I felt it with Coventry as well. We didn't come out second half again. You know, we were supposed to go out the blocks, and I feel like teams come into the KP are thinking to themselves, "We'll try and hit them on the break first half, and then we'll give them a go second half." And that's exactly what Cardiff did, and Coventry. They came at us hard for that 45 to 60 minutes, and we're predictable again in that we don't make a change again until 60 minutes. So we're just under pressure from the off of the second half. So I think that's why we struggled a bit, and why I can't give more than a 70%. But obviously the result was great, showed great tenacity to just keep going, which I think we wouldn't have seen last year. Couple of new people on the pitch just trying to prove themselves, like the debutant on Saturday. God, what a start. You know, he's proven himself. He's brought some respect from the fans already. And Vardy came on and caused absolute chaos. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I think Enzo said him and Albrighton were the players of the match for him, and they were the two subs. So it's great that we've got the experience to draw on, and hopefully the youngsters. I mean, we said on Saturday, like, Castaday's just learning off Vardy. I wonder if he's ever met anybody like Vardy in his career so far. Probably not. No. So, you know, we got away with it a little bit, but we did deserve it. But sometimes you don't always get what. Do
you think, Kate? I mean, they scored just before half time, which was the worst possible time for us to concede, the best time for a team to score. That gave them the momentum to come out in the second half and have a go. But that reminded me very much of, like, oh, hang on, this is Leicester of last season again. Is that we had all this dominance. Yeah, all right, we had the one goal, but then we went and conceded. And I just hope that we're not going to turn into that team again.
Yeah, that's the challenge for Enzo, isn't it? It's breaking some really old habits that are well ingrained in some of the team. And like he said, it's only 20% done. So there's 80% still that he needs to work on. And a lot of that is eradicating what's gone on in the previous 2 years. I mean, if he can make Wilf into such a forward-thinking player all of a sudden, like, he's like a new signing, he's a breath of fresh air. I bet he is loving it as well.
I don't know who this is. I thought there's a new signing we'd got.
I know, plenty more energy. So I think it is a work in progress, and we've got away with it in some cases, but you make your own luck, don't you? I'm sure we'll be on the receiving end of it at some point as well.
Oh, I've no doubt. And Brad, I mean, I think you've probably watched the highlights since the game finished. And I've got to say, look, I haven't been Vardy's biggest fan. And, you know, in like the Cardiff game and the Coventry game, you know, I'm sort of saying, like, what's he doing? But I think what he did for the team, would we have got the penalty if he hadn't scored? We haven't got VAR to spend 2 hours deciding. But, you know, I just think I've got to say fair play to him, because he did what we wanted him to do, and that was cause a nuisance. And it's just...
Yeah.
Carry on. Sorry, Brad.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, Vardy now has that thing. He's like that... He's like that cool kid in the movie, you know, when the character joins a new school, and they're like, oh, his reputation, man, you got to be scared of him because his reputation, he's a scary man. It feels like the reaction to the substitutions that Cardiff made, because thankfully I was able to listen to the second half, but I have been...
The Fonz.
Oh, okay. I couldn't read that then. I thought you showed me your signature to put and just.
You know, just like the Fonz, isn't it? This older guy that comes in and all, you know, and all the kids.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a very good comparison. So yeah, we've got the Fonz of our team, and I think you tell that they put an extra defender on. They were scared of what he had the capabilities to do, even though he's an aging player that we all know what Vardy's capable of, and he's finally getting that role, Chris, that we've been kind of talking about for about 16 months now about Vardy, where he becomes that impact sub. He's the substitute that the opposition fans and the players see him warming up and see his number come on, and they go, "Oh, for God's sake!" I thought we just got past dealing with a striker of some annoyance in Kelechi or whatever, and then they've got to deal with Vardy. And do I think a penalty was going to get given? The referee signal seemed to be advantage more than anything, so I assumed that had Cassidy not got a foot on the ball and rolled it into an empty net, it would have been given. That's my take of the situation. So he's just clever, and he sets off panic. I think it was either Terry or Boris said in the comments, doesn't he? It was a bit of a genius because it sent panic into them. You do not put an extra defender on if a 36-year-old striker, unless he scares the absolute wits out of you. And he just showed his old time brain and what he's capable of doing. Like I said, the reputation he comes with, whether he's still got the legs or not, seems to be enough psychologically to really affect defenders.
It did work in that game.
And he kind of had a part to play in the sending off, because he was the one that drove into the corner and kept it down there for ages. And the guy was just absolutely reckless to do that twice in 2 minutes with KDH.
That was stupidity.
That's costly for them, really. But Vardy was the one that sort of started that move off and kept it down that end of the pitch as well, and was just riding them.
I mean, Jamie Vardy winding people up. Never would I have seen that play.
He ran down the wing at one point. Yeah. The length of the half, got foul, bought the foul at the corner flag basically, and we're like, that's what Jamie's there for.
Yeah, that's the old Jamie. I mean, like you say, that's the difference when you get like a decent referee that makes the decisions. Like as if you would kick the ball away in the closing minutes of a World Cup final. That's usually a booking, isn't it? But I'm being pedantic there. I'm sure. I mean, Kate. We've got this new... I mean, I was a bit worried. This Cassidy, the last Cassidy I knew was David, and that's going back a bit. That's going back a bit. But look, he said, I'm not waiting to see whether we got the penalty or not. I'm having that. The ball's there. And you look, and it's like going back to the women again. The goal that won us, the Euros, it was scrappy. It was sticking a toe out. You don't give a damn when it goes in. And I was a bit worried because he's come with this sort of, super kid sort of tag. And we know how sometimes tags can you can't live up to the tag, Tetty. But, he looks, well, I'm not saying anything with you. Scoring a goal on your debut, what more could you ask?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll settle his nerves. It will buy him some grace with the fans. He couldn't have asked for more already. He looks a sizable unit as well. When he came on, he's well over 6 foot, I would say. Put himself about. But like Enzo said, and I think sometimes we get so deep in thought about strategies, formations, all of that stuff with football. Sometimes it's just the simple stuff. I remember the year that we stayed up, the Great Escape, and the year that we won the league. Loads of match of the day analysis was saying at the time, God, they've got 5 players in the box, Leicester. Like Schluppy was up there, you got Riyad, Jamie, even Fuchs was making a rundown sometimes. And like Enzo said to quite a few of the players, get in the box so you're ready to score. And it's just the simple things. And I feel like we're filling the box a lot more. And ultimately, that's probably why we got the goal mouth scramble, because there's players in the box to rifle it in the top corner. And the same with the first goal as well. There's players there. It's not rocket science. But Brendan always only had really 1 or 2 players. And you're struggling, aren't you? You're struggling.
I was going to say, Brad, that was something we didn't see last year, was it? The fact that there was players in that box.
Yeah, there wasn't as many bodies in the box. And it's weird because Brendan did have a spell where, funny enough, he was having players. He was telling them, no, get in the box. I want to see you be a bit more fearless. I want you to bear down at goal, And last season, it just felt like the confidence was completely knocked out of him. I mean, I was forever screaming at my phone or whatever format I was watching the game on, because some players would get into certain areas, and you could visibly see in their actions and the way they would just pause, stop, not know what to do. they thought about shooting, but it was almost like they daren't shoot because if they missed, they were going to get absolutely scolded. And you just felt that. And I'm sure, Kate, if you went last season, I'm sure the fans could see that and feel that from the movement or lack of movement from it. And it's just so refreshing. I mean, I know it's one game and we don't want to jinx a debut, but the basic instinct, basic, use of your brain to go, no referee's whistle, nobody's told me not to stop, bang, thank you very much, I'm going to put the ball in the net. And then if the whistle blows and it gets ruled out, it gets ruled out. But I'm doing what I know basic, what I've been told to do, put the ball in the net. And it's not a cryptic puzzle. You do not need to be a rocket scientist to figure out the odds on you scoring are far greater if you're shooting inside the box than you are outside the box. And I think that was another thing last season. We became so dependent on a Maddison, Yuri, Harvey Barnes edge of the box screamer that they almost didn't feel the need to get in the box because they always were looking at them to score options. They weren't going, hey, if you need a pass, I'm making a run. You know where I'm going to be, and that's what we've seen early doors under Enzo. Is these players, they're not standing on the ball going, where are my options? They're going with their head down, driving into the box because they know if they put a good enough ball across that 6-yard box, that 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 players are going to be charging to try and get the end of it. I mean, you look at our first goal, Chris, we scored at the weekend. There was 4 or 5 bodies in front of him that were Leicester players, let alone Cardiff defenders. But it came to him, and because he just went, if I'm here, I've got more chance of scoring and doing something for the team than I have standing out on the wing.
Yeah, no, you're quite right. I was going to say to Kate, I mean, I've been impressed with Marshall since he started. I liked him in the Northampton friendly when he was actually on the other wing, and I thought he could be the answer to our wing problem, but he's certainly one of the answers, I think, to it. And he did take the goal well, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's quite a difficult chance, really, and he absolutely nailed it. It was a bit crazy in the box at that time, and he's took his chance, and fair play to him. I think we've got, considering I was a bit worried at the start of the season about wing options, all of a sudden we've got quite a few with McAteer when he comes back as well. We've obviously got JJ. Would like to have seen JJ come on at the weekend because I think at one point Doyle was just lacking that dynamism that you want from Justin to go forward. But yeah, what a great day for the lad. We're so chuffed for him. But we said as well, just going off Brad's point about people in the box, like Enzo will have practiced things week in, week out, how we're going to score a goal, when the chances are going to come about. And both goals at the weekend were goal mouth scrambles. So you can't plan for every single goal. I think that's what
we scored from a corner, Kate.
I know. I can't. But Brendan tried to plan every goal as if like it was executing a war plan, and it doesn't really go like that. Like Enzo's just saying, okay, we'll practice the strategy, practice the formation, but also get in the box. So it falls to you. We've got a great chance, and I think that's exactly what happened with Madi Vadua.
Yeah. Okay, I was going to say to you, when you go to the games now, when you come on, if you can give us a vote for the team performance every time, that would be great. We'll rely on you for that. I know you're not going this weekend, but moving forward, any you do go to, that would be great. Man of the match, Brad and Kate. Let's stick with Kate first of all. Man of the match was chosen by Alan, who again, like yourself, goes to the matches. He went for Ricardo.
Oh, okay. I didn't think he had a bad game at all. I'm not sure who I'd have picked, to be honest. Ricardo did fine. He got himself into some really good areas. He got in some crunching tackles as well, which always makes me wince with Ricardo. I wouldn't like to call it. I don't think anybody really did that badly. I thought KDH had a poor game, but yeah, I'm happy with Ricardo.
I must admit, Brad, let me just hide from Kate while I say this, because my second choice for man of the match would have actually been Vestergaard. I'm sorry, Kate. I can't lie to you. It would have been Vestergaard. My man of the match would have been Marshall. I think he played so well all game. He just runs at the defence. He's not scared, to be honest with Were you able to make a decision from what you saw, Brad?
I you know me, Chris. I always love watching
do,
pretty much anything
unfortunately.
Leicester. I know. Sad but true, but you do know me. And I've watched many extended highlights. Even especially when we win, I tend to watch the opposition ones just to watch them have a meltdown. And going off what I was able to see from what I gathered from the game, listen to the second half. There's a few shouts for it. I do have to admit, Vestergaard was in my mind, but I didn't pick him. I won't say that. I know. She can't hear us. If you've got your hand up, she can't hear what you're saying. It's how YouTube works. Sorry, Kate. Sorry. But he did have a good game. And whether we like it or not, Kate, he did have a good game.
I feel like admitting to having a good game and admitting to man of the match are two completely different things.
No,
don't worry. Like I said, he was only... Yeah, well, like I said, he was only in my thoughts, but one player who I'm going to give credit to, because for all the speculation, for all the alleged reports about a certain international manager, and I've had my piece and I've not bit my tongue against it. I had an absolute Chris rant special about it. Chris knows what I'm talking about here. He could have easily had his head turned, this player, and I think he's been nothing short of fantastic for us this season. I know last season he had a couple of own goals against Liverpool, but this season, for all the talk, he's not let it bother him. He's come out, been committed to the club, and time again, he has put his body quite literally on the line to prevent goals and opportunities coming our way. And my man of the match was Wout Faes for me. I thought he was fantastic, another top-notch performance. And we talk about Castagne, head turned. That's why he's not playing. He's not let anything affect him with alleged international Belgian reports. He has been up there with one of the most consistent performers. So yeah, Wout Faes for me. What was my choice?
Marshall and Faes, Kate, thoughts on those two?
Fast is all right. He wasn't one of my top. I know what you mean. I think he's always involved in some crunching tackles. I thought he got caught out a few times, very nearly, but Vestergaard saved him. Yeah, so who else did you say? Sorry, Fast and
Marshall.
Yeah, definitely a shout for that. I thought he did absolutely brilliantly. He didn't play like a debutant at all. He didn't seem to have any nerves. It was really attacking. And I think Enzo will be really pleased that he did the job he probably asked him to do.
And Brad, do you went with my choice?
So I had the same power as you do, Chris. Just remember that. I'm just nicer than you.
Who was your choice, Chris?
Marshall.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah. Finally, just want to end on this, and just for a bit of fun, I thought I'd have a look at the Premier League table. Oh, look, Everton are bottom. No change there.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer club.
Played two, lost two, even though they bought Jack Harrison from Leeds. And I've got to say, for all the money they spent in 15th place, played two, drawn one, lost one, the mighty Chelsea. But look, they've got this long-term plan. They've signed these players for 8, 9, 10 seasons. So, it's all a long-term strategy that they've got. So
in 5 years' time, when they're building themselves up League Two, they'll be great.
And top of the table, fair play to them. 2 wins out of 2, 8 goals scored, and that is Brighton. So well done to them. But look, we're top of our league. That's all that matters. Kate, thank you very much for coming on. Have a good week. Enjoy your alcohol-laden weekend that you're going to have.
Thank you.
Tell us where people can. Your link is in the description below now, but do tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, my Twitter handle is @KateBlakey40. It's Kate, and the name is Katie B, KATEYB.
There we go. Thank you, Rainer. Brad, we know where we can find you, but give us a shout out anyway. Basically, that's any call on a Friday night.
Yeah, you can find me here, there. You can find me, well, pretty much anywhere. I'm not as famous as Stevie Walsh, so I can't do the song, so I can't have that as my thing. So you find me at Full-Time Focus, because that's the best place. Well, might be changing mine at Chris. I was going to say it's the best place for the location to find out when LTID TV 2 goes live, but that will be changing in accordance for you.
It's all changed over. It is all live.
Ah, see, I thought I was looking for the changes. I was like, he hasn't made any changes to the art things, but you've
Oh,
done all the changes.
the artwork, and it should have the new name on YouTube and everything.
Oh, well. Anyway, you'll find me over on the channel, holding it all up myself. I get no help from Chris. Honestly, I don't. He doesn't do anything to that channel. He just left me to it. Oh, so I'm going to lose everything now. He's going to delete everything. I'm going to be stuck with this.
Yes.
But no,
I
yeah.
just like the fact that you admitted that you hold everything up yourself. I mean, I'm
Well-
sorry, mate, but you need to get out more.
Well, I do. I really do. I should get out more, shouldn't I? But no, follow me on my socials. But the main one to follow me on is on LTID TV2 and go and show that channel. Lots of love and attention. And yeah, there'll be content flowing out my ears at some point for it.
Where you go to find all the quizzes and all the women's football. That's what
Yeah,
I say.
unfortunately, not in the same thing, not at the same point. I don't find the women and the quizzes all there at the same point.
Although I
You
do
never know.
believe, I don't know if I've still got it. Just bear with me here, gentlefolk. Oh, yeah. Just in case anybody was wondering how the... that's not working. There we go. How the LTID TV quiz is going. There we go. There it is. It's full glory.
We don't need to see that. We don't need to see him, folks. We'll leave.
I can do it as well. There's only you'll be on your own here, Kate.
I know, I'm going to be on my own, aren't I? Holding everybody up like I am with the table.
Hey, yes, in there.
I knew you'd do that, but it was worth it, mate. It was all worth it, I tell you.
Kate, Brad, thank you so very, very much. Kate, I would say have a great weekend party. We'll see you if your head has recovered next Monday.
Indeed. All right. Have a good week, guys.
And you. And
See you later, Kate.
we will seek. We will speak soon. I'm not sure when. You're on Thursday, aren't you? For the.
Yeah, so Thursday's preview, we've got the fans sorted for that, and I need to make sure that Craig's back. I heard the public's cry. You what?
Is it Gorinda that's doing the Rotherham game with you?
No, she said she won't do it because I tried everything, but she said she's too elite for Rotherham, so it's a Rotherham fan that's joining us for that on Thursday, and then obviously
I'm
for all those
elite. I am elite. I am proper elite. I am Dorinda.
It will never tire for me, that.
No, I can't wait for her return next season. I can't wait for her first TalkSport interview when she comes back on. But yeah, we're doing that Thursday. So that'd be the usual preview. If Craig is available, and get his wise owl opinions and team predictions for that. And then on Friday, a snazzy quick update to start off with the predictions league with Steve is fully up and running. No spoilers, but some of us have had a lot better weeks than others. I don't like this championship. That's what I'm saying, mate. This league's rubbish. Give me the Premier League any day. I can predict that, but this championship's like rubbish.
Have you struggled, Brad? Have you struggled?
I mean, there is a chance that I might not be doing so well, but it's all right. I can fix my results. It's not live. I can give myself some points, isn't it?
The thing is, though, in our defence, because I don't think I'm doing particularly well either, in our defence, we had been in the Premier League for 8 odd seasons, so we had kind of had a new who could win and who couldn't win. This is all new to us.
This bloody Preston's beating Sunderland malarkey. It's not for me, mate. I like to know that I want me Man City stuff in Everton days back. Give me that any day.
My theory is that Bristol City is before Cardiff in the alphabet, therefore Bristol City win. That's how
Exactly, mate. That's the carpet news, and it's where we're going wrong.
That's all. That's my knowledge of the championship. Brad, all the best, mate. No doubt I'll speak to you before then anyway, but take care and thanks for everything as always.
Cheers, matey. Take care, everybody. See you later.
Bye-bye. So this week, we've only got one game this week. And next week, I believe we have got 2 games. Yes, it starts. But we have only got the one game this week, which is Rotherham away. We'll be back on Saturday for the watch along when we won't have Kate, but we will have Brad pre, during, and after, and he'll be joined by Luke and his mate Skippy. What's that, Skippy? I know it's a shame Kate can't be there, but, you know, she's getting drunk. What can we expect? I will see you soon. And, with the League Cup on Tuesday, Brad's just told me. I thought that was the following week. Okay. Fair play. Let's have a look. That's just thrown all my plans into... I'd kind of half agreed to go on another show on Tuesday, so oopsie-daisy. Have we really? Let's have a look. I'm not disagreeing with... No, Rotherham is on Saturday the 26th. No, Tranmere is on Tuesday. That's the following Tuesday, not this Tuesday. Brad's trying to confuse me. God, you know what he's like. I think he's been at the old... Don't say anything. Yeah, oh my bad indeed, Brad. Yeah, oh my bad. Just kind of kept me panicky there. I will see you all. Well, Brad will see you all on Thursday. I'll see you all on Friday. I'll see you all on Saturday. Have a good week. It's getting a little bit easy, this this championship, isn't it? I don't know whether I can last.
The Premier League? That's so last season. It's all about the Championship here on LTID TV.
Now that's what I call football.
You hit the right spot.
Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for listening. If you're doing that via your favourite podcast platform. And my thanks to Kate, my thanks to Brad. I've been Chris. This has been LTID TV. This is Arnie. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.